without a mayor. There have been 3 attempts now at holding an election for the mayor, and all of them have ended in ugly clashes between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. Remember, the MCD has been without political leadership for the past 8 months, resulting in the civic body not taking any policy decisions. Delhi mayor elections were called off for the 3rd time today. Proceedings in the House were disrupted as Aam Aadmi Party members once again created a ruckus over voting rights for the aldermen. The bone of contention is whether the aldermen can vote or not. But as we've been asking in the past too, should any disagreement over proceedings result in the kind of scenes we are witnessing? Is thuggery the way to deal with this, or legal action? Both sides, the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP, now claim the other side is stalling the elections. Exactly who is scared of going ahead with the process? We'll take that question to our guests in just a bit. First up, as the battle for the mayor continues, claims and counterclaims are flying thick and fast. Let me break those down for you. The Aam Aadmi Party has attacked the BJP and sought a ban on the aldermen, saying that they are not entitled to vote in the mayor election. The BJP has hit back at the Aam Aadmi Party, saying the court has allowed aldermen to vote. I'll clarify this in just a bit. Aam Aadmi Party has also alleged that the LG has chosen BJP workers as aldermen, so they are more inclined to vote for the BJP, something they are not really willing to let slide. The BJP has lined the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that if they have the majority, then why are they afraid of letting these elections take place? I will explain that too in just a bit. The Aam Aadmi Party also accused the BJP of trying to poach councillors. This is a long-standing charge they've been making, frankly, even before the MCD House was convened. And the BJP also, surprisingly, has now accused the Aam Aadmi Party of trying to poach their people. The party said that they are taking the help. The Aam Aadmi Party is also trying to take the help of 2 convicted MLAs to win these mayor polls. So let's take a look at the MCD in numbers. Why is this situation what it is? But really, does it need to be what it is? So the Aam Aadmi Party, in a house of 274, has 150 votes. Whichever way you look at it, they're very comfortably placed. The BJP has 112, Congress has 9, which is choosing to abstain. The others have 3. So the total strength is 274. Even if, and I'm saying that as a rider, even if the 10 aldermen who have been nominated by the LG vote, and we assume that they will all vote for the BJP as is the charge by the Aam Aadmi Party, the latter is still very much with a clear upper hand. As far as the bone of contention on the alderman itself is concerned, here is what the situation is and why there is a massive difference of opinion on whether they can vote or not. So the MCD Act, which obviously governs all of these proceedings, very clearly says that the aldermen do not have the right to vote in corporation meetings. But what has happened is that since obviously the MCD Act, which is an old one, it has been revised periodically, in 2015, the Delhi High Court had ruled that the aldermen can vote as members of the ward committees. Now, the BJP believes this gives them the go-ahead for aldermen to also vote as far as the MCD mayor elections are concerned. Whether that position is right or not, frankly, at this stage, nobody is discussing that alone. What they're discussing or not discussing is whether this proceeding can go on and who's exactly stalling it. So that's the big focus today. First up, on plain speak, in this AAP versus BJP battle, exactly who is guilty of stalling the Delhi mayor elections.
हमारी गिनती तो 121-22 बनती है, आपकी तो 151 बनती है, तो 121 वाले से 151 वाला चुनाव लड़ने से क्यों डर पाएगी?
मेयर का चुनाव नहीं होने दे रही है भारतीय जनता पार्टी। आज 7 दिसंबर को सीधे सबको पता है कि इनको 104 सीटें मिली, आम आदमी पार्टी को 134 सीटें मिली, यानी कि जनता का मैंडेट साफ है।
9 भारतीय जनता पार्टी के काउंसलर्स को अप्रोच किया गया और कहा गया कि उन्हें कभी पद का लालच, कभी पोजीशन का लालच और कभी पैसों का लालच देने का प्रयास किया गया।
दादागिरी से आप गुंडागर्दी से देश को चलाएंगे, इस प्रकार से आप कहीं भी हार जाएंगे, फिर आप नेता ही नहीं चुनने देंगे।
Let's go across to the guests joining us. Anuja Kapoor from the BJP, Dr. Anika Mehrotra from the Congress, Siddhant Sharma is joining us from the Aam Aadmi Party. I'm also joined by Umesh Sehgal, former Chief Secretary in Delhi, and Ashwani Dubey, who's a Supreme Court advocate. Because remember, this is more a legal question. I'm not sure why it should descend into the kind of chaos. And that's a central question we continue to ask. Which side is right or wrong is not really something that can be decided in the manner it is being decided. And in the process, the attempt to elect a mayor is being derailed. So let me take that question first to Siddhant, who's joining us from the Aam Aadmi Party. Because Siddhant, you know, traditionally, if you look at the last two times, even today, the allegation has been it is predominantly the Aam Aadmi Party members who are disrupting the House. They are not letting the House to function. Today, I know that the Aam Aadmi Party claims that actually the BJP is afraid of holding these elections. But if you look at all the visuals in conjunction, from the first attempt to the third attempt, it looks like you are not letting the process take place.
Shivani, it's a fallacy because if it's not about Aam Aadmi Party, any party which has 151 voters in the House, why wouldn't it like to have smear? Because it's beyond comprehension, it's counterintuitive. So Aam Aadmi Party has 151 voters in the House. It's very clear. The media, including your channel, have shown repeatedly that Aam Aadmi Party corporators have been sitting very quietly in the House. The problem is with the BJP today. Just like when they could not get out in cricketing terms, when they understood that it will be very difficult for them to get Sir Don Bradman out, they resorted to bodyline bowling in 1932-33. So that if you cannot get get them retired hurt. So in cricketing terminology, the bodyline bowling that was used by Douglas Jardine in 1932-33, the same tactics is being used by BJP today.
But can I just remind you, Siddhant, can I just remind you, the Aam Aadmi Party seems to have changed their tack, because I remember very clearly, and I've been following this very clearly, I've been debating this since day one as well. You remember the first time the House convened? It was very clear the ruckus was started, initiated, sustained by the Aam Aadmi Party.
Shivani, this is the third time, and all the three times it was the BJP which did it. And speaking about today, the moot question here is that according to the rules of the House, before a mayor is elected, the chairperson is going to be the senior most corporator, and the senior most new elected chairperson get into that chair. And that chairperson belongs to the BJP because she is the most senior most, Satya Sharma ji. So if Satya Sharma ji has just one task at her disposal, according to the constitution, that as a pro tem speaker, as the chairperson, to get a new mayor elected, the new chair of the House elected, why doesn't she do that? Now, why it is happening is that BJP is very afraid of losing the power in MCD, because once the mayor is elected, the House starts sitting and it starts debating and delivering on the promises of the House.
No, fair enough. The BJP obviously is going to try what they're going to try. They're obviously not going to digest the loss in the MCD elections, whatever the results have been. I'm not going into that. But I'm saying you look at the sequence of events, and as I said, I've followed it, I have debated it. I'm going by what Aam Aadmi Party and BJP spokespersons were saying on my show after the last two attempts too. And it was clear that the Aam Aadmi Party did not want to allow the process to take place on various issues. Whether it is the chairperson itself, whether it is the alderman, whether it is the right to vote for the alderman. Allow the process to take place, and then you can, challenge if you don't think that the process has been done appropriately. But let me bring in Anuja Kapoor at this stage as well. Anuja, today the tables have been turned. The Aam Aadmi Party is saying very clearly, we are not afraid, we are not scared, we are comfortably in a position of majority, as much as you can say, given the system of how the mayor is elected. It's the BJP which is unwilling to accept that they are not going to have a BJP mayor.
So, Shivani, before I speak, I would like the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson to be quiet as I'm listening to him. And if he's afraid, he will speak in between. So till then, be quiet until unless you're not afraid. So what happens is the fairness of the election is not. See. So the fairness of the election.
You are supposed to make your
Siddhant, I gave you appropriate time. You spoke singularly. Now let Anuja come in. You counter after that. You counter after that, Siddharth. Anuja has baited you to interrupt her. You are doing exactly what she baited you for. But let her put her points, then you counter her. Anuja.
Exactly. I will.
Yeah. Okay. So now I come back to the main point. Now the problem with Aam Aadmi Party is that they are afraid BJP. I don't know why. So that is why they have two candidates for mayor and for deputy mayor. They have two MLAs who are convicted, asking them to vote. Now they also came across to BJP councillors, the 9 of the councillors, and asking them to vote. And they are giving them, ready to give them 1 crore. The way they have given 50 lakhs to 1 crore to 50 to 55. They're people who became the parshad, who became the councillors. And now, in that position, when the councillors ask the money back because they have won it, now there is the problem. So it is not the BJP, it is them. Now, if they were so much entitled to take all of this issue and they were so concerned, they went to Supreme Court. But then they withdrew their petition from there too. Now they again say that we will go to Supreme Court. So the problem where they stand is they also do not respect the presiding officer. They do not respect the chair. Now the chair itself says that please go outside to 2 MLA, Sanjeev Jha and Akhilesh Tripathi, that convicted members will not be able to vote. Now, where we talk about aldermen, the aldermen already have a right, and we have already discussed it at the last when I sat with you, that in 2016, there was this petition, and Anika ji is sitting
is there.
In her petition in 2015, she has spoken about it, and there is where it is talking about that but the aldermen can vote. Now, when the aldermen can vote not only in zone, they can also vote in the mayor. This kind of a situation we have never seen. As we have been elected for 15 years in the MCD, Congress was there. We have never seen this kind of a stupidity, and we have been there throughout. And now, the minute Aam Aadmi Party comes in, there is a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Now, we also see
One second. Okay, Anuja, hold your breath. I remember very clearly the Aam Aadmi Party was objecting to the alderman vote. And last time around when I debated this, Atishi even said very clearly that we will not allow the hijacking of the constitution or the murder of democracy, whichever phrase you want to use. Because if the aldermen are allowed to vote, then that's what they constitute. They believe that they shouldn't be allowed to vote. But that cannot be a pretext, that the process is not right, cannot be a pretext. I'm sorry to say, for the public watching, for this kind of hooliganism and thuggery going on in the MCD house. That's my central point. For heaven's sake, think about the people who've elected, whoever the councillors are, from whatever party, and what job they were elected for. But Dr. Anika is with us. Anika ji, it was your petition which had that Delhi court judgment which said that the councillors can vote, the aldermen, the nominated members can vote in the ward committees. What is the Congress's position? Do you believe that it is right for the aldermen to then vote for the mayor election as well? You're very conveniently sitting out of this election, but still you must clear your position.
It is not the question of conveniently sitting outside. The point is, you rightly began your show by saying that it started off with Aam Aadmi Party, coming to the well and disrupting the house, and rightly followed by BJP. So Shivani ji is actually unwanted and unnecessary situation, unnecessary chaos. She's right. When Sheila ji was in power and BJP MCD was with BJP's hand, Sheila ji always coordinated because she wanted the people of Delhi not to lose on their work or their right that they have in the MCD. Now, having said that, in terms of the case that I approached the court, that time the mayor's election had already been completed. So our prayer was that at least whatever is left, at least in the ward committees, we should be allowed to vote. So what I remember very clearly of petition is that we were allowed to vote in the ward committees.
Yes.
Because by then the mayor election already completed.
But does that extend to the mayor election? Does that extend to the mayor election? I'll get a couple of my experts in as well.
Yeah, I have my doubts. I really can't say on that, ma'am. I'm sorry to say. But yes, ward committees, authentically, I voted. So I can say that yes, we got the right to vote.
Okay, Siddharth, come in here. Now, your bone of contention is that the aldermen cannot vote. Now, let's say there is a legal lacuna as far as this position is concerned. What should be the right way to take this forward? Surely not pushing and shoving in the MCD house.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. We've never seen such precedent ever. So that's why the question arises, what is the gimmicks for? Why is it being troubled? One says very confidently, we have the power, we have the numbers. Then why hesitate?
No, the Aam Aadmi Party has clearly changed its tack. Because like I repeat, at the cost of repeating, on my show they have said that they have a problem with the aldermen voting and they were clearly seen disrupting the process. Then the questions arose on them that you have clear majority, even if the aldermen vote and all of them vote for the BJP. What are you so afraid of? They were also the first ones to mount the charge that the BJP is trying to buy their councillors. And of course, that doesn't fly without proof or beyond a certain point. But Monica ji, just hold your breath. I want to take a clear answer from Siddharth, from the Aam Aadmi Party. Let's say there is a legal disagreement on whether the aldermen can vote or not. You have a different position, others have a different position. Why not fight that legally separately, but allow the house to function?
Shivani, BJP has come a very long way from Atal Bihari Vajpayee's BJP, which walked out of the Lok Sabha just with one vote shortage. The BJP is also running away from Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah's party, which goes ahead and fights election with all its guts. So today BJP is basically running away from elections. Now, as far as aldermen are concerned, very clearly, it was nice of Anuja to have very clearly said they want the aldermen to vote. Now, the point is, when in a Lok Sabha, voting is happening, other than the MP sitting in the house, there is a lot of staff and other people also sitting within the Lok Sabha. So, isn't it? But all those people do not vote in the Lok Sabha.
No. Staff cannot be compared to nominated members. Siddharth, come on. Let's not insult our intelligence. Come on. Let's not insult our intelligence. You answer my clear question. Let's say you disagree that the aldermen cannot vote. I mentioned at the start of the show the MCD Act does not allow for them to be voting. I mentioned that. Let's say there's a legal difference of opinion here. What is the right way to deal with it?
Yeah, Shivani, there's no need to be very patronizing on this program, because in CNN's viewers are also intelligent enough to understand what I am saying. The simple point is, aldermen are not elected within the well of the house. A person who is not elected, can he vote in the Lok Sabha, in the Vidhan Sabha? If they cannot vote within the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha, how come they can vote in the MCD? That's a very simple question. That's a
Miss Sonika wants to answer.
Now, the point is...
No, let Miss Sonika respond to you.
And
Sir, even the nomenclature was changed that the nominated councillors can be said as councillors
from being
also.
Atal Bihari Vajpayee's BJP,
Even standing committee, the permission was granted. Mayor, I'm sure it was not there, but for standing committee also there.
From being Mr.
Why don't you go and challenge the
Shah,
order, sir?
which is running away from an
Challenge the order
election.
that I won.
BJP should
I
not
won
run
a
away
case.
from an election. It should have
Oh,
an
I
election.
won a case and I was allowed to vote. Why don't you go and challenge that? Simple as that. If you think what right I got in 2015-16, if that was wrong, it was not as per the act, why don't you go and challenge and remove it completely? You can challenge it off. But that was very categorically said, sir, that the aldermen can be also called as councillors. So we use the term as councillor for ourselves. We removed the word aldermen also in our cards. We were termed as councillors, A. B, we were allowed to vote in the ward committees because then the election was already over. Now, how it is being now manipulated or conceived as, that is only the view of the judiciary to look into it. So go to the court and find a way out. Why are you disturbing the proceeding of the house? As simple as that, sir. Because the number game is troubling you. If the aldermen vote, you are in trouble, sir.
Even Mr. Barack Obama is today called as the President of the United States. But he is an ex-president.
Come to India, sir. Come to India. Sort out your problems here in Delhi.
In India,
you have multiple departments. You have problems to running the Delhi. You are not in confined to the LG. You are always saying, "Kaun LG, kaisa LG?" Please have some respect for the constant post. Why don't you collaborate with LG?
By the House, cannot vote in the House.
Get your heads racking.
How can the alderman voting? The member is
okay. I take your point, Siddharth. I take your point. I am saying that yes, the question that you're raising on the aldermen, going by precedents, going by the MCD Act, is a valid question. But there's a Delhi High Court judgment. You must respect it. And you must go legally in this. This is a legal point of discussion now. But let me bring in our two experts as well. OP Saigal, very quickly, I want to come to you. What we are witnessing is almost, I think it is unprecedented. Regardless of which party was in power at the MCD and at the Delhi government level, we've not seen this play out. Now it has happened for the third time. You know, those elected, those in power, now the Aam Aadmi Party that has majority at both government level and the MCD level, you know, some sense has to come down. We cannot have this just go on.
Well, it can only come down if all of them agree to bring it down. If they keep on fighting there, this is what is going to happen. Now the mayor candidate of the Aam Aadmi Party had approached the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court heard them, and then they withdrew the case. When they withdrew the case, they asked for permission that after the mayor election, can they come back to the Supreme Court. That was permitted. Now the point is that after the mayor election, now here what has happened is the election has not taken place, but a decision apparently, I don't know, I've gone by the press reports, one doesn't know what happened, that the presiding officer has decided that aldermen will be allowed to vote.
Yes.
Now that decision can be challenged, and I think the Aam Aadmi Party proposes to challenge that decision. Now that after they challenge that decision, a proper legal this thing will come. Now I have not seen any provision in the MCD Act which bars aldermen from voting. But there is a provision in the Constitution which is a general provision, not a provision specifically for Delhi or anything, which says that nominated people will not be allowed to vote. Now that's a constitutional issue. I would not consider myself competent to comment on it, and since the matter is pending, I think the better course of action would have been, I mean, I am not advising the political parties how they should behave. Maybe this is a better course of action from the point of view of one party, that at this stage we should approach the court. Now if they are going to approach the court, so be it, because the decision will come and the matter will then close.
Exactly.
And the decision, final election will take place. But even after the decision comes, if there is still ruckus and this sort of nonsense goes on, then what will happen? Again there will be chaos, and we will make the corporation the laughing stock of the whole country. I don't think it is good advertisement for the capital.
Let me take that.
Especially for people elected by us. It is not a good advertisement, and I think this should stop.
Yeah, can I just bring in Anuja Kapoor one more time before I go to Aam Aadmi Party representative? Anuja Kapoor, today the specific charge by the Aam Aadmi Party is that actually you are worried. And the numbers actually support that contention than the contention that the Aam Aadmi Party is worried, although I've seen this play out and they were indeed stalling it. But today, they're saying we're willing to have this election.
Shivani, you know, what was their tweet? You know, it is a very sad tweet, and where they have spoken it. So listen to the tweet and you can understand the psychology of Aam Aadmi Party. Saurabh Bhardwaj, he says that आज एल्डरमैन कल एलजी और परसों मरे हुए पार्षदों का भी वोट डलवा दे. Do you see what kind of a language it is coming up? And from this, do you think BJP is anywhere in between and they look that we are scared or not scared? Why we would be scared? When we are not, we are less than majority. 25 votes, we are less than majority. Our total is 110. Their total is 150. 12, more than majority. Sensible or not? I don't understand.
Because you don't want to let the Aam Aadmi Party get the mayor. No, the problem here is you don't want to let the Aam Aadmi Party get its mayor.
Why would we not allow them to have the mayor? Why would we do that? The mayors are being chosen by the MLAs, the MPs, the aldermen, and the councillors, and that is the whole thing. So they let them do it, and the mayor will be there, the deputy mayor will be there. By putting two candidates to their mayor, to deputy mayor, how will this thing go? And then you are asking, Shivani, this is a valid question. Can you ask the two MLAs, Sanjeev Jain, Akhilesh Tripathi, who are convicted members, to vote? Do you think this is right? Even we are challenging this.
No, you should challenge it.
They are bringing, this is the third time. At the first, they had a problem with the nominated members, the elder members. Then, and the second time, now they have no problem on 24th of January.
As well as the election together. Why are you having all the 3 elections together, ma'am? Why are you bringing changes one after the other, Anujaji? That is also a question. You're each time bringing something or the other. If it's only
So you
a
don't
election,
want
so be it.
Onika
Then
ji,
get into the other thing. Why are you getting
Onika
the
ji,
other elections
Onika ji, don't you
done?
want?
So
Why?
that's the question.
Because this is what I'm asking you. On this MCD election happened on 4th of December last year. This is the 3rd time we are planning. So do we want to have a mayor election or not? If it will go in the 3rd way, and mayor and deputy mayor in the standing committee in one go, this should have been happened long time back.
Then the
Okay,
pro team
can I
gets
just
the
bring
pro
in,
team
I have
happening
final
because
minutes
again
left. Can I
there is
just
going
bring
to be a
in
problem.
Ashwini Dubey, who's a lawyer. Ashwini Dubey, can you put this into perspective for us, exactly what is the legal position here? Because it does seem that there is a difference of opinion and possibly a technical right difference of opinion after the Delhi High Court judgment on aldermen voting in ward committees.
Yes, Shivani, thank you for very much for having me here.
Yes.
Shivani, if we talk about the constitution, because the Article 243R subclause 2, subclause 8 deals with the municipal councils elections. So the constitutional validity, if we talk about, then the nominated members of the municipal council do not have the ability to vote at council meetings. This is one, which is clear. Shivani, the second is composition of municipalities, which says that the persons nominated shall not have the right to vote in the meetings of the municipality. And what exactly is having the meeting? If it is the meeting, then the Article 243 bars. Now, there is a judgment of Karnataka High Court, recent judgment, decided by the Chief Justice Alok Arade and Justice S. Shetty. They said the elected members of the councils are chosen by the popular vote and carry with them the mandate of the people, whereas the nominated members of the council are appointed as councillor. And hence, Article 14, which talks about the right to equality, that if the nominated elected member has a right to vote, and therefore the nominated member too stands on the same footing, have a right to vote, is not available, because, and it is also not violative to Article 14 of the Constitution of India. And therefore, this is a recent judgment. And the elected and nominated members cannot be claimed to belong to the same class.
Fair enough.
There is no argument that the distinction between elected and nominated members is illogical, arbitrary, and it lacks any rational.
So what is the impact that the Delhi High Court judgment have when they decided that yes, these nominated members can vote in ward committees? Does that extend to the mayor election?
No, the ward committee, voting in the ward committee, voting in the standing committee is different from the voting in the municipality election, which is taking place.
Okay.
Both have different footings, and that is what the Article 243 says.
No, so fair enough. Like I said, these arguments can be made in a court of law. This is not, the visuals that we're seeing for the 3rd time is not how we can settle this. This will not settle the dispute. It cannot. Because two sides have these differing opinions, and this is a legal issue that has to be then sorted out. I hope the sense will prevail that those battles can be fought separately in a court of law while the process can go on, or come together and say we will not do it till it is settled outside of the MCD house. I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Let's see what happens next in the national capital. Moving on. A controversy has erupted over Congress leader Shashi Tharoor's tweet hailing late former Pakistan President Pervez Musharraf post his demise. Tharoor tweeted that Musharraf was a real force of peace between the two nations between 2002 and 2007. BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad has hit out at the Congress leader, saying it's unfortunate that Musharraf is being called a Shanti Doot. Ravi Shankar Prasad said peace was completely derailed in Musharraf's reign. Kargil war, the parliament attack, plane hijack all took place when he was at the helm. First up, here is what Tharoor said initially after Musharraf's death. He said, once an implacable foe of India, he became a real force for peace 2002 to 2007. I met him annually in those days at the UN and found him smart, engaging and clear in his strategic thinking, RIP, which is rest in peace. After questions were raised by the BJP, especially on this comment eulogizing Musharraf, he said this. Question to BJP leaders frothing at the mouth. If Musharraf was anathema to all patriotic Indians, why did the BJP government negotiate a ceasefire with him in 2003 and sign the joint Vajpayee-Musharraf statement of 2004? Was he not seen as a credible peace partner then? The question is whether Musharraf really was a peacemaker, because just because he was involved because of his position in Pakistan politics, in ceasefire or other negotiations, Does that mean that his intentions were right? Now, this is all that has happened under Musharraf. Kargil, 1999, of course, he betrayed the Lahore Declaration, ordered the infiltration of the Pak forces in Kargil. Vajpayee invited him for the Agra summit, but talks collapsed after his grandstanding in a breakfast with Indian journals. Can't quite say he was really invested in any peace. February 2015, this is what Musharraf said. The ISI cultivated Taliban to counter Indian action against Pakistan. He said this in the context of Afghanistan and India's role there. But remember, in July 2018, he openly said, I am Lashkar's biggest supporter. They like me too. You all know what Lashkar-e-Taiba stands for and what they have done in India. That's not it. Under Musharraf's presidency, we faced multiple attacks in India. The 2002 Jammu Raghunath temple attack, 2002 Mumbai bus bombing, 2002 Gujarat Akshardham temple attack, 2001 Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly car bombing, and of course the Indian Parliament attack. Kargil or no Kargil, Musharraf was never really India's friend. He was very clear about what he wanted in Kashmir and otherwise. So the big question we asked today, Tharoor's tweet, others eulogizing Musharraf, is this not convenient whitewashing, picking and choosing of what they want to of this anti-India former dictator?
वो हमारे बहुत बड़ा दुश्मन था, बहुत बड़ा शत्रु था, कारगिल में बहुत नुकसान किया, लेकिन उसके बाद करीब 4 साल के लिए वो बहुत कोशिश की हमारे देश के साथ समाधान करने की।
पूर्व विदेश राज्य मंत्री शशि थरूर ने जनरल मुशर्रफ को शांति दूत बताया है। इसका कुछ मतलब वो समझते हैं? जिस राष्ट्रपति और सेना प्रमुख पाकिस्तान की अगुवाई में कारगिल पर हमला होता है, भारत का प्लेन हाईजैक होता है, सब भारतीय संसद के ऊपर हमला होता है, कई निर्दोष लोग मारे जाते हैं और शांति के हर प्रयास को वो डिरेल करने की कोशिश करते हैं।
Guest joining us, Syed Zafar Islam from the BJP, Suman C. Raman is political analyst, Sushant Sareen, senior fellow, ORF, Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, former DG Infantry, all joining us on the show. I do thank you for your time. We invited the Congress party, they declined the invitation. But let me go across to Suman C. Raman. Suman, it seems a little baffling that a senior, a functionary, someone who understands diplomacy, somebody like Shashi Tharoor is saying what he's saying about Musharraf, that, India negotiated with him. India negotiated with Musharraf because that's how diplomacy works. You negotiate with the head of the state that you're negotiating with. It's not because Musharraf was some peace maker. Do you find his statement odd?
No, Shivani, I don't find that statement odd at all. So if you look at the details of what Shashi Tharoor has said, and he has subsequently clarified with 2 more tweets. I think you have to see the whole thing in its entirety. And he has very clearly said that it was a BJP government that subsequently negotiated a ceasefire with him in 2003, and subsequently there was the Agra Vajpayee Musharraf, there was a Vajpayee Musharraf Accord which was subsequently signed, I think, in 2004. So I think that Shashi Tharoor has basically, first of all, this is an obituary related tweet. So generally, you avoid saying negative things. Yes, perhaps he could have remained silent. But I think that the point that he was trying to make was after what happened at Kargil, for which Musharraf was fully responsible, and clearly there is no forgiving him for what he did. But I think the point he was making was after that, during the term of his presidency, he did try to attempt to negotiate some kind of peace.
Did he really?
Certainly not out of a love for India, but maybe to strengthen his position internally in Pakistan. But whatever may have been the reason, there was an attempt to negotiate a peace with India subsequently, which is what Shashi Tharoor actually pointed out. He did not glorify him.
No, it's not. No, he did. He said that post the Kargil war, and I played out that bite, his tweet is a little different than that. He's putting the blame on the Vajpayee government, as if Vajpayee government talking to Pakistan head of state is some sort of a whitewash of what Musharraf did. It's not a personal statement on Musharraf. Musharraf was at the helm of Pakistan affairs. Who else were you going to talk to? But in his bite, he did say that Musharraf tried as much as any good-natured man can to bring peace between India and Pakistan. Did he really? That's what I'm asking. Let Sushant Sareen come in. Sushant Sareen is the expert. No. Always in history, any kind of figure, Sumant, will have areas of grey, right? But I'm not sure why a person. I'm not sure why a person who waged a war on India in India is given shades of grey. I'm not sure. I'll come to that question in just a bit. But Sushant Sareen, did Musharraf really want peace with India? Did he really try?
So, Shivani, a couple of things. You know, if you want peace, then one of the criteria for peace is to not promote terrorism.
Yes.
Now, everybody, including the BJP, including Mr. Tharoor, including you, you know, all the terror incidents which you were recounting, from the hijacking to the parliament attack, we forget what happened when Mr. Raman, for example, is, you know, being waxing eloquent on how good that period between 2004 and 2008 was. Number one, Vajpayee got that the Pakistanis to acknowledge that they will not use their soil for terrorism against India. But within a couple of months of that, Vajpayee was out of office. And after that, it was the Congress government which was negotiating the so-called peace. During that period, Shivani, there were 17 major terror attacks. Now, maybe it does not matter to people like Mr. Tharoor or Mr. Raman or anybody else, but when 200 odd people are killed in train bombings in Mumbai, when people are killed in the German bakery bombing, when people are killed in the Zaveri Bazaar in Mumbai, and I could go on and rattle out another 13, 14 of these terror attacks which these guys carried, that is not what a peacemaker does. Then Mr. Tharoor, in his subsequent tweets, writes that yes, he accepts that Musharraf was an implacable enemy and he was not a friend. And then he still says, and an implacable enemy, somebody like Mr. Tharoor, who, you know, whose English is legendary, should know what an implacable enemy is.
But he says, Tharoor says he changed suddenly post-Kargil war. Between 2004 and 7, somehow Musharraf worked really hard for peace between India and Pakistan.
Yeah, so then don't call him an implacable enemy, right? Now, the thing is that then he says that wasn't he a credible peace partner? Now, one, I've told you about all the terrorism which was carried out. Number two, and very importantly, if Musharraf was actually invested in a peace process with India, and that was his real swan song as we seem to believe it was, then would he not have continued to talk about that peace process, that so-called peace formula? And I don't think it was a peace formula. I think it was a trap for India, which we were walking in with our eyes wide open. But assuming he was actually invested in it, then after he had gone out of power and he was in the rubbish bin of history, which is what all generals in Pakistan are once they give up their uniform, would he not have continued to talk about that particular peace process? Would he not have continued to root for it? Would he not have said that that is the only, using whatever political capital he had, would he not have flogged it? But
no, because you mentioned it. I was going to raise this.
One second, Shivani, as you yourself said in your report, he was saying that the Lashkar-e-Taiba are great guys. He continued to back organizations and swear by the, terrorists by saying that these were our people. He never spoke about the peace process once he had gone out of office.
Can I quote him? Can I quote him more of what I played out? Can I quote more of what I played out? Two of my guests have not spoken. I mentioned how he said ISI cultivated Taliban. And he obviously praised Lashkar. He has said, because I have always been in favor of an action in Kashmir and I have always been favoring for pressuring the Indian army in Kashmir. This LET is the biggest force and they have been declared terrorists by India along with the US. He defended a terror group like Lashkar-e-Taiba. I don't know how this man is some Shanti Doot, as Ravi Shankar Prasad asked. Suman, just 1 second. Let me bring in my other guests who haven't spoken. I want to go across to the Lieutenant General here. Is it not absolutely tone deaf, Mr. Prasad, of Mr. Tharoor to say what he said, even in hindsight? Because even in hindsight, Musharraf doesn't come out very nice.
what Mr. Tharoor says is his business, and I do not wish to comment on what he says. But the first and the foremost thing is, a man is dead, a very cunning man is dead. May the Lord rest his soul in peace. Secondly, let me give you, all the other political points have been made and they are very relevant. The important thing that I want to dwell upon is 2-3 points. Firstly, what is the character of this man? A very cunning fellow, a very unreliable fellow, a poor military strategist. You will ask me, why is a poor military strategist? He put up a great strategy against India. I'm afraid no. He could not plan the Kargil operation properly. He had no logistic support. He never thought of how the operation is going to be logistically sustained. He never realized as to how the enemy, the India, is going to react to his moves. He did not realize how the world opinion will go against him. He did not realize what the power of the media is in the current day's modern warfare. So as a strategist, I do not rate him very high. And एक हिंदी में कहावत है, मुंह में राम राम है बगल में छुरी. This is what exactly he did in absolutely word and letter and word. When the Prime Minister went to Lahore and came back, he stabbed us in our back. And also, when the Prime Minister of a very large democracy visits a country, the military chief is expected to say hello to him and salute in military uniform. Musharraf was in military uniform, refused to salute Prime Minister of India, Bajpayee, which is absolutely appalling. All of us have seen that picture, all of us know about it. The central point is this, that having done what he has done to India for so many years, as Shant said, numerous terrorist incidents, does he mean peace? Every time India has said anything about peace, we have said peace can be negotiated provided you stop terrorism in Kashmir.
Absolutely.
He refused to stop Kashmir, any terrorism, not only in Kashmir but elsewhere in India.
Absolutely.
So how is he a peacemaker? I mean, I'm glad to hear this, and one of the panelists said that we avoided getting into his trap. He was laying a trap for it. But must remember one thing, President Musharraf was a commando. He never used to think hard enough from his brain. He used to shoot from his hip. So therefore, when you shoot from your hip, you got no idea as to what this is going to result into.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he used to do. I'm afraid, while as a man, we have got all his qualities which I've just narrated in very brief, what the political statements are is related to political leanings of one person or the other, or one party or the other.
But sir, how can you have a leaning? That's precisely the point I'm coming to. How can you have a leaning as an Indian on who Musharraf is for us?
Yeah. Of course he is. Who in India will say that Musharraf is a great peacemaker? Somebody must be absolutely wanting to say something which is not tenable by any evidence.
And that's why I raised this question. It has not come from some ordinary person. Mr. Tharoor understands diplomacy, he understands international affairs. He understands India-Pakistan relationship.
Well, he has personal relations with somebody.
Precisely. So is his personal relationship with Musharraf
that motivated him
overshadowing his judgment on what Musharraf was to India-Pakistan relationship? Sir, can I also add what else he said, what else Musharraf said post his presidency? And this is all happening, in the past. Mr. Tharoor could have had opportunity to realign his opinion of Mr. Musharraf. And I go across to Zafar Islam. He said, India is the greatest democracy, promoter of human rights and democratic culture. All bullshit. He said that. This man is a peacemaker and a friend of India. Zafar Islam?
No, he was indeed a friend, but not of India, but Congress party. Because Congress can have that kind of stand, but not India or people who really who are concerned about the national security and understand who the enemy is and who are our friend, who are our foes. Mr. Tharoor has made this statement because that's something which they believe, and not only Mr. Tharoor, he understands the diplomacy, he understands the dynamics, he understands the equation between India and Pakistan and what Musharraf was up to when he initiated the Kargil war, as well as many other things he had done against India. So only Congress and leaders from Congress can speak such thing about Pakistan, because they eat biryani when they go there, they have a different kind of equation with them. But not ordinary Indian will ever speak anything
Mr. Tharoor
about
has
Musharraf.
raised an allegation.
Whether he was
Mrs. Islam, Mr. Tharoor has also raised this question that why were you in talks or on the table with Musharraf if he was so bad? By you, I mean the BJP government of the time.
I understand. See, Mr. Bajpayee was honestly an icon of peace. and he had said once, you cannot change your neighbor.
Yes.
They exist there. He was trying to have peace in the region. He took the initiative, and you cannot have dialogue with anybody other than the state, head of the state. So, by virtue of being head of the state, Musharraf had to come. But we also had a very clear understanding that Musharraf is not a friend, but he is somebody who is responsible for Kargil war. He is somebody who has many other things had done against the interests of India, and even though he has failed in every attempt, a bad attempt he has made, but still his intent was something which was known to India.
Yeah, and his intent is something he's making clear in statement after statement. As Sushant Sareen very rightly said, what did he do or say and bat for post his presidency in exile too? So Sumant, I want to give you a minute. The larger fundamental question that people are asking is, how can somebody of Mr. Tharoor's intellect say what he has said? One, it is tone deaf. It is also factually, I am not sure, so accurate to suggest that Musharraf worked as some individual force, as a force of peace between India and Pakistan. I'm not sure that is established. Also, how is it that he's not realizing how this goes down? This is like, you know, hitting your foot on the axe in politics.
Shivani, first of all, Mr. Tharoor has said that he met former President Musharraf annually at the UN, and he has said that he found him clear in his strategic thinking. Now, that is a personal point of view. He's probably met former General Musharraf perhaps more than a number of other people have. So he is entitled to articulate his view. The second point, very importantly, please, Mr. Sushant Sareen made the point about the support to the terror groups and so on. Name one Pakistani politician who has not expressed similar sentiments and support for terror groups.
But that's not
has
a
it not
defense
been
for
done by
Musharraf.
Imran Khan? No. Has it not been done by Imran Khan? That
But
has
that's
been
not
an
a defense
instrument
for
of state
Musharraf.
policy. That has been their state policy. That
Exactly.
is why you
So
call
what are you
Pakistan
doing? What is your business eulogizing a Pakistani dictator and former president? Why?
The point is, Mr. Tharoor has personal interactions on an annual
That's
basis
separate.
with this man.
The
And
issue
he is
that people
speaking
have
from
is not what he
his-
said about the UN meetings. The issue that people have is Mr. Tharoor declaring that Musharraf was one and
Why would he
implacable
declare
foe,
that? He's
but
met the
became
man
a
every
real
year.
force of peace. But I mean, why is he doing that?
If
Why is he
met the
whitewashing
man-
Musharraf?
Look, I think the logical way of doing this is to get Mr. Tharoor and grill him and ask him what he found in those meetings with President Musharraf.
No, I'm not I don't care about his meetings. I care about what Musharraf did in full public view. Sushant, I had 30 seconds left. 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll take a little more than maybe a minute. Number one, thank you, Mr. Raman, for proving what I was saying, that there is no Pakistani who's a credible or, as Mr. Tharoor calls, a real force for peace, because their state policy never changed. The state policy was to continue. Sir, please, I kept quiet when you were talking.
Okay, one by one, please.
Now,
One by one.
So you're misquoting me. That's the problem. You're misquoting me.
I'm not misquoting.
You're misquoting
You
me.
yourself said this right now. That is
No,
their state
sir.
policy. Has
You
there any
said-
leader
you
who has
said
gone
General
against terror
Musharraf
groups in
supported
Pakistan,
terror
and they don't go
as if
against
he
terror
was
groups
the
because that
only
is their state
Pakistani
policy?
politician
Who said
who
it
supported
yourself?
terror.
No,
They
okay,
all
one second.
do.
Who
Can I
said
come
it
in?
yourselves or what
I think
exactly?
both of
They
you have
all
made your
do.
point.
They all
Sushant,
do.
30 seconds.
Nawaz
Sushant and
Sharif
me
did.
only. Sushant and me
One
only.
more point.
Yes, I
Shivani,
think
if
the
we keep
point
quiet,
is
I
that
can
nobody in Pakistan can be trusted. Whether post demise or while somebody is living, I don't understand why somebody of Mr. Tharoor's intellect and experience needs to eulogize and give this epitaph
Shivani, let me make
to
just two
Musharraf.
quick
Why?
points.
Yes.
So, Shivani, two very quick points.
Yes.
Number one, I hate it when, anybody in this country says we can't change our neighbors, whether it was Vajpayee or Nehru or whoever. Neighborly relations is not only on one part. Can Pakistan change their neighbors?
Yeah.
But do they behave like a neighborly country?
Okay.
So why do we keep parroting this thing? Number two, and more importantly, what happened during the Vajpayee years, the 2003 and 2004 period? Look, people are not aware of what happened on the back channel. And out there, we literally pushed the Pakistanis to accept what we were asking them to do. The ceasefire was done, number one, by the Pakistanis, and we let them do it, and we said, okay, fine, we'll reciprocate to it. But on the deal which was struck between Pakistan and India, where Pakistan forswore to never let the use of its territory, that was a win-win for India. Why would India not sign
Absolutely.
it? Because now we did not hold Pakistan's feet to fire on that particular thing on every single occasion was our failure. But I think Mr. Vajpayee did right when he got into that deal and he got that deal signed.
You can analyze what Vajpayee ji did and whether it was right or wrong, it worked or not. That is a separate issue. I have no problem with it. My central issue is knowing what Musharraf stood for while he was the head of Pakistan politics, and after that, why would you even bother eulogizing this man and giving him some sort of a favorable epitaph? I leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Completely out of time. I have to slip into a very short break. On the other side, we'll get you the day's biggest story.
How can the central government compel these public sector organizations to invest crores of their public funds to a private company like Adani? What is the special interest that Modi government has got with this particular company? These are the questions. I was just going through an article. It says that a post-Hindenburg report, life insurance corporation, mutual funds and FII investors have together lost over 2 lakh crore rupees in just a span of 7 trading sessions. This clearly shows the depth into which the Indian share market and the Adanis are going down. So this is an alarming situation, and that is the sole reason why for the public we are in front of the LIC. We are actually conducting this dharna.
But the other side of what the questions that are coming is that this report itself is, there are some problems with it. And also the fact that this is, there are also claims that this is an attack against an Indian company, so against the nation.
See, I have two questions to the government. It's just over 1 or 2 weeks since the BBC documentary has been screened all over India. We Youth Congress have also screened it in whole of Kerala. Their major contention was that the BBC documentary is against the nation. But we say that that BBC documentary was against Modi alone. That was their first contention with respect to that issue. And after the after the Hindenburg research has come out, report has come out, now they are saying that this sole issue is against India.
Fireworks that have been witnessed in the parliament because of the Adani revelation that has happened when it comes to the Hindenburg research that in fact has spoken about how Adani's in fact have ended up duping the country and the world, and that's why his position, Gautam Adani's position as the third richest person in the world has slipped down to 16th. So there's been fireworks that have been witnessed in the parliament once again over Adani Enterprises and the Hindenburg matter. Protests currently are being led by the Congress and they are taking place all over the country as well. That is the reaction that's coming in. So it's spiraled out of the parliament. It has now branched out to the rest of the countries. There are people who are protesting at the SBI and LIC offices in various parts of the country. Opposition is continuing to demand a joint parliamentary committee probe and a Supreme Court probe into this Adani stock rout case. My colleague Nikhil is with us on the broadcast. Even as we talk, both the houses of the Lok Sabha stand adjourned till about 2 p.m. So after lunch, we will know whether the proceedings are allowed or not, considering the opposition is protesting. Nikhil, first of all, where are you at? There are protests that are emanating in various parts of the country. What is it that you can tell us?
बीजेपी का जो फेयर एंड लवली है वो अडानी को भी दे दिया, डाल के उसको सफेद करने का काम इन लोग ने किया है। देश का जनता माफ नहीं करेंगे। इसमें स्पष्ट समझ में आ गया है मोदी सरकार भ्रष्ट सरकार है। हम सब लोग मिलके ये सरकार को जगाने का काम, कांग्रेस पार्टी का मांग क्या है? कांग्रेस पार्टी का मांग ये है जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री सेशन हो, सारे सवालों का जवाब देना चाहिए। सरकार उसका जवाब के लिए तैयार नहीं है, तो हम लोग
निर्मला सीतारमण जी जो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर है वो ये कह रही है कि सदन के अंदर करने के लिए तैयार है, लेकिन अपोजिशन पार्टी के जो लीडर है वो बाहर बयानबाजी कर रहे हैं जो कि गलत है, वो सही नहीं। निर्मला सीतारमण बहुत बड़ा इस देश का बड़ा हेड नहीं है, ना सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज है, जस्टिस है। निर्मला सीतारमण को समझना चाहिए ये बहुत छोटे मोटे कांड नहीं है, आजाद भारत का सबसे बड़ा कांड है।
उसमें आप लोग दोस्ती निभाने का काम बंद करो।
अच्छा, आप कह रहे हैं कांड है,
We'll go back in just a bit. I believe he's live with us from outside the Life Insurance Corporation of India headquarters in the national capital. Vinaya, my colleague, and Neetu are also joining us live from both Mumbai and Bangalore respectively. Vinaya, I'll come to you first. First of all, the protests have emanated. They are continuing. They're led by the opposition. The big question is all right, I'll come to Neetu first, who's joining us live from Kerala. Neetu, I was actually taking that question across to Vinaya. Let me actually put that across to you as well. This is what has been the opposition's charge, that it is the Aam Aadmi, the poor people who actually invest their life saving in things like the Life Insurance Corporation of the country. They stand to lose massively because of what really has happened when it comes to this Adani stockgate. What is it that the people really are saying over there, considering the protests are happening in various parts of the country?
So we are right outside the LIC office here in Thiruvananthapuram in Pattam here. This is the main LIC office where the Congress workers have taken out the protest march and the dharna by about 11 a.m. today. So as you rightly said, so these are the issues that they are raising. What they are saying is that it's an investment, it's a life savings of the common man that is being affected, and the central government is responsible for this because they are the ones who asked LIC as well as SBI to invest in the Adani shares. Now this is a protest dharna that is going on here right outside the LIC. They have their senior leaders, former MLA V. Shiv Kumar here under the District Congress Committee. They are here, they are protesting. They are demanding a joint a JPC into this entire matter. They want answers. They need this matter to be inquired. Youth Congress leader Veena is here. So Veena, what are your major demands and why are you all organizing this protest across the country now?
See, our first and foremost major demand is that the Joint Parliamentary Committee should hold an in-depth investigation into this particular issue. Because as we all know, we are conducting this protest dharna in front of LIC. Life Insurance Corporation is a brand name that is trusted by millions and billions of common people of India. Also SBI and similar other public sector banks. So how can the central government compel these public sector organizations to invest crores of their public funds to a private company like Adani? What is the special interest that Modi government has got with this particular company? These are the questions.
Thanks a lot for staying with us. A quick check of the top stories we're tracking. In a mega infra and defence push, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated a slew of projects today worth over 1,000 crores in pole-bound Karnataka. He also inaugurated HAL's chopper factory in Tumkur. Members of the Indian Youth Congress held a protest over Adani stocks rout at Jantar Mantar today. Like the party, protesters are demanding a joint parliamentary committee probe into the fraud allegations against the Adani group. 3 back-to-back earthquakes have struck central Turkey and northwest Syria, killing over 1,600 people and injuring many hundreds. Buildings have collapsed across the region. According to officials, casualties are likely to rise. Search operations are underway. A historical milestone achieved by the Indian Navy as naval pilots carried out the landing of the LCA on board INS Vikrant. It demonstrates India's capability to design, develop, construct and operate indigenous aircraft carrier with indigenous fighter aircraft. Beyoncé won a record-breaking 32nd Grammy Award at this year's ceremony in Los Angeles, breaking a long-time record. Beyoncé made history as she won Best Dance and Electronic Album for her euphoric dance opus, Renaissance. And finally, leaving you with the visuals of the Lantern Festival from Taiwan to mark the new lunar year. Thanks a lot for watching.
आप देखना पूरी कोशिश होगी, और ये सरकार नहीं, मोदी जी पूरी कोशिश करेंगे कि पार्लियामेंट में अदानी जी का डिस्कशन ना हो जाए।